guest I want to welcome down, John Hutchins. John, how you doing, my friend?
Very well. Thanks for inviting me.
For those of you who don't know who John Hutchins is, he's very, very important in the Western New York musical landscape, and I'll tell you why, because John owns the Rapids Theater. Which, if you haven't been up there in Niagara Falls yet, you and I were lucky enough to be John and Ross's guests from Back to Back Entertainment
last Sunday. Yeah.
Last Sunday for the Eric Church show, correct?
Correct. Sellout show.
Unbelievable. And this is quite a venue that you have up there. The sound is amazing. Holds, how many people does it hold?
1,700.
1,700, and you had to be at capacity.
Yeah, we were. That show sold out the morning of the event.
I've got to ask you first and foremost. I mean, I think it's great that you're doing this for Western New York, and I think it's great that you're doing it for the Western New York music scene, because we always have guests on that talk about the grand old days of Western New York and how we used to be a concert stop, and then we started to be the city that you passed over. You are single-handedly changing that. You had Snoop Dogg in last week, correct?
About 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Eric, I mean, so there's country stuff, there's hip-hop stuff, there's all kind of stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, every music genre. We're experimenting with comedy. We had Pauly Shore in. We have Gallagher coming in May the 5th, I think.
What got you into it? What made you decide to do this?
It's a long story. When I bought the building, I'm a real estate investor. I mean, that's my primary job, my primary occupation. And we have things like, office buildings and retail stores and apartments and that sort of thing. And I'm from Niagara Falls originally, and I wanted to start investing there to try to help bring the city's economic condition to a higher level.
Correct.
And so anyway, we bought this building at a tax auction. It's right on Main Street, and it's right next to the brand new courthouse and police station that they built. So anyway, we got the building, and our intention was originally to lease it out to someone in the business, for concerts. Its last use was as a concert venue. It was called the Dome Theater.
Okay.
For about 8 years. Prior to that, it was a nightclub called The Late Show, and back in the late 70s and 80s, it was a great place. Anyway, after we bought the building and we tried finding a tenant for it and couldn't, we decided, well, we'll try to get an operator to, and we'll just take a lease payment from this operator. And so that failed. We couldn't find anybody that wanted to get involved with it. So then we decided, well, we'll operate it ourselves, and we'll get someone who's got experience in the business to manage it for us. So we spent we bought the building in 2007, and then we spent about a year, assembling the financing and getting the money together, and then a year of rehabilitation. And if you'd have seen the building the day that we walked in, when you buy a building at a tax auction, you cannot see inside.
Yeah, you don't even know what you're getting.
Yeah,
just a big mystery.
So that's a good word, mystery. When we walked in, it was in the condition that it was after the last concert was held in there. It looked like it rained beer cups in the place, and it looked like a World War II battle was fought in there. I mean, there were chunks of plaster hanging off the walls, and all that ornate plaster work that you saw when you were in the concert. That
beautiful.
Was not there.
Structurally, was it sound?
The roof was big, gaping.
So it was raining inside the building.
Holes the size of beach balls in the roof.
Oh, my God.
The building inside was just destroyed, just a mess.
And you talk about a year of renovation. Now it's beautiful. We walked in there last weekend, and we were just in awe.
It's amazing what $2 million will do.
And that's what you put into it, $2 million?
Yes.
I don't want to get into the money that you threw in it. You obviously put a lot of money into it, and that's your business and whatever. But you put a lot of money into the sound, though. I'll tell you that much, because the sound in that room, it's probably the best sounding room in Western New York. I really mean that.
We feel that it is. We have what we consider the best sound man in Western New York operating for us, and he also does a lot of work for Shays and Art Park, and anytime a big national act comes to the Western New York, no matter where they play, Darien Lake, it doesn't matter, Bobby Hillman is the guy that gets hired to run the
And
sound.
Bobby is your sound man.
Right. Bobby's the Rapids is his home base.
Yeah, and we watched some of the show from upstairs and some downstairs, and everywhere you went, the sound was
Yeah, the
fantastic.
sound was incredible. I mean, I really was floored by the size of it and how nice looking it is. And then I was really floored by the sound because it drives me crazy when you're at a concert venue and it just sounds awful.
Well, if anybody's going to know good sound, it's going to be you. And then, as we were talking, before the show, we're going to try to make some improvements to make it even better. We've got some things in mind that will just make it perfect in there. So
Now, this is you purchased it in 2007.
Right.
You work on it for a year, get the financing together for a year, then you work on it for a year. You actually open it in 2009. You're not even forecasting to be profitable until when?
Well, this year we'll be profitable. We opened in December of 2009, so our first anniversary was just this past December 10. And we had a tough year in 2010. We had to change management in early April. We had to cancel a bunch of shows that were planned that
Growing pains. It was just
we
regular
didn't
growing
feel
pains.
were going to be productive. So we basically really didn't get started until the late fall of 2010. Now we got a couple of great talent buyers working with us. Ross Catalino from Back to Back Entertainment. He buys most of our country stuff, and Dave Taylor buys our indie rock bands and the off the wall kind of stuff that's the avant-garde kind of acts that we bring in. So, and then we do some of our own. As we're getting more experience in this, we're bringing in some of our own bands.
And the venue is also going to be used for wedding receptions and stuff like that.
Right, wedding receptions, corporate events, fundraisers. I'll give you an example, and private parties. This coming Friday on the 25th, we have the homecoming party for James Starks, who was the Green Bay Packers starting running back, Niagara Falls native.
Good for
and
you.
If you don't know that name, you're gonna. This kid is an amazing football player. But that just shows you. And James Starks asked, he could have held this anywhere in Western New York. He specifically asked to have it at the Rapids Theater.
We were talking about it before the show. My best friend is a huge UB fan and a huge James Starks fan, and so when he heard about that, he's really excited for that. But you guys have great talent coming in. I mean, the band Perry.
It's got to be great, though, that he asked for that.
Yeah, that's
theater.
so
I mean,
cool.
I think that's got to make you feel good, doesn't
it's
it?
humbling.
Yeah, he didn't know me personally, so he called the mayor. Well, he actually had his brother, Quinn, is just a year older than James, call the mayor. The mayor calls me on a Sunday night and says, we know this is short notice, but if you got Friday the 25th open, James Starks would like to have his homecoming party there, and I want to present him the key to the city. And I said, well, if it isn't, we'll make it open.
Yeah, yeah, please. So upcoming events, on March 11th, you have a Genesis tribute band. Waiting Room is going to be there, and you said they're phenomenal.
Right. They are they're doing The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, and it's the complete album with all the costumes and everything. That's going to be a great production. Prior to that, this Wednesday, is that the 23rd Wednesday?
Is that Dropkick?
We've got a sold-out concert, Dropkick Murphy, Irish rock band.
Right,
and
right.
That's going to be huge. We're on a really good string of sellout events. This will be our 5th in a row.
Good for you.
And this one sold out a week ago, so that's always good for the venue.
Well, and then a couple of the big ones, and you have some big stuff coming up. You got the country band Perry.
The band Perry,
They were
correct.
just Grammy nominated.
Yes.
And that's going to be March 12th.
Right. They're real up-and-comers. In fact, we are so glad to get them right now. The way that happened is Ross saw them at an acoustic show and said, John, you got to get these guys before they really hit it big and get them into the venue. So we've got them, and then the way this business works, these artists remember when you bring them in when they're on their way up, when they strike it big, then they come back.
Well, that's good.
As Eric Church did,
Yeah, that's and that was a phenomenal show. I wish we had more time. We're definitely going to have you on again because there's a lot of history about the building that I'd like to talk about. And I want everyone to go to rapidstheater.com, ending in TRE.
Theaters, we wanted to be friendly to our Canadian neighbors, and so we spelled it with an R-E.
So it ends in RE, TRE, rapidstheater.com, and you can see the whole listing of who's going to be there.